morning and welcome to Portrush. As the title of this video says, it's good to shoot local, and I couldn't get more local because I literally live not even a quarter of a mile away from where I'm walking right now. Quite privileged to call this our front door when we're at home. So today's plan, or this morning's plan, is really just to get out and shoot something local. And okay, as I said, it's not a bad local spot to have, but I'm sure you guys have got somewhere close at hand, even walkable distance, that you can frequent often. And one of the benefits of shooting local is not too much effort involved. Grab a camera, get out and start making some images. So let's see what we can find. Well, welcome up to Ramore Head. This is a little area that I run around every day. Yep, back to daily running. Time to lose those Shetland tees, or at least make room for more. It was a stunning sunrise this morning, at least from a kind of colour in the sky. Unfortunately, even though I'm shooting really local, I kind of missed it. I had a few bits and pieces that I needed to take care of at home. But that's okay, because actually the reason for coming round here was the other morning when I was running. Now, I don't think we're going to get those conditions this morning. It was stunning storm light going on, but in about half an hour's time, 20 minutes time, the sun hopefully will actually rise up above the visible horizon and give us actually some lights on these little outcrops, and that's kind of what I've come around for. So I've got a little bit of time in my hands now, so I'm just going to wander around and start fine-tuning a little bit of a composition. I did fire off a quick image just when I got here, just as that sort of pinks and purples were still reasonably vibrant in the sky, and I'll throw that up now. But I'm going to head off and do a little bit more scouting, and hopefully we get a little bit of light on these outcrops. So quite a challenging one to set up for a couple of reasons. Number one, don't want to get any of this grassy foreground in, but what I do want to get in is at least a little bit of those waves in the bottom of the frame. I don't just want the black rock. That leads me to my second point, the black rock. Now hopefully as that light really comes up and the sun is directly on it, especially if it's just on the edge of the cloud and it's a little bit diffused, it might bring a little bit of the sort of lightness into the rock. I just don't think it works really jet black. And then lastly, there is a little bit of a curve kind of going on here. There's a kind of an outcrop here which sort of helps sort of lead the eye hopefully through the image, but getting that correctly sort of set up without including any of the grass, and trying to also include a little bit of that white sort of the sea spray. A bit challenging, but we are hopefully, you can probably see it on my face, we're starting to get a little bit of direct sunlight now. So hopefully what I really want is light on those skerries in the top of the frame, because that's hopefully what will then pull you through the image. It's quite cold actually as well. Not much wind, but it is cold. Okay, so as you can see, the sun has now directly risen. Still have a problem though. There's a lot of massive waves coming in, and they're just causing too much foam, too much froth. So now that we do have the light, I'm not even sure this is going to work. Just a little bit too much foam and a little bit too much froth. Now what you can sometimes do to sort of combat that is increase your shutter speed. So I was at about a second or so. Maybe if I go a slightly faster shutter speed, I might just capture some of that energy, but not too sure. Which is unfortunate. We are getting some nice light on the skerries now as well. So what I might have to do is, rather than go for the wider vista, I might start having to look for some more sort of intimate detail shots where maybe there isn't as much foam. But we've got some lovely light now, so let's see what we can do. Oh, it's been one of those mornings. Battery on the GoPro's died, probably because of the cold. Had a memory read error on this memory card. Might be the memory card, might be the old camera. Tripod seems to be playing silly beggars. Anyway, as I was saying in the previous piece, I'm no longer looking at the bigger vista. I just don't think we've got the light for it. And that's one of the things to be aware of. Whenever the light's kind of not really playing ball, or perhaps once, you know, the better light has dissipated, with a medium or even a long telephoto lens, I'm still on the medium telephoto lens, you can start to pick out little areas of detail which allows you to carry on shooting potentially. And what I'm looking at here at the moment is this little outcrop here, and mainly because it is actually catching some of that early morning light, and so sort of the light on the rocks just coming through on the waves. And again, just like last week's video, it's now really all about timing. There's a couple of different options, as we said last week, you know, whether that wave's fully over the rock or whether it's sort of rolling back over again. It's really up to your own personal preference. But this may actually work as a bit of an image, so I'm going to carry on shooting here. I'm on the 18-135. I'm up at about 70mm, and I'm just picking out little details and then just waiting for the right wave to come along. So what I've been doing for the last 5 minutes or so is I've just had live view up on the back of the camera, and I've just been watching sort of how the waves are interacting. Obviously my main subject is these stones and how they're sort of catching the light. That light really starting to kind of get quite diffused now, quite soft. But even at the back of the image, there's different sort of little gullies and different ways the waves can actually go. And sometimes it sort of adds to the image, sometimes it actually detracts for it. Now, of course, when working at the coast and with the waves, you can't really tell the waves what to do. But what sort of studying the live view has allowed me to do is when I'm actually reviewing the image on the back of the camera, I can immediately look at sort of the key areas of the image that I think bring something to it, to see whether they're actually sort of contributing to the image or actually taking something away from it. Oh, and also, on a side note, I bought these Valorette gloves, not on a personal recommendation, but a number of outdoorsy people, especially photographers, I saw had been using them, and so I went ahead and bought a pair. Now, they're not cheap. They're also not very warm. Don't get me wrong, having the fingers and thumbs open to the sort of elements, but even when you've got them closed, I don't find them that warm. So be careful, people, if you're thinking of buying a pair of these and you do suffer from cold fingers, because I would not recommend these. Sorry guys, I just wouldn't. Anyway, back to the images. Well guys, I think that is the end of the morning's photography romp. That light really is now starting to get rather diffused, and I'm just not seeing too much light now on those rocks. Again, one of the benefits of shooting locally is the fact that even though this may not have been a complete success, it's only just around the corner from my house, so not too shabby at all. So hopefully that does encourage you to get out and shoot local, because as I say, I will come back here. I'll come back here multiple times, hopefully over the next couple of weeks, because there is certain conditions that I know can sort of present themselves here that would actually work well for that bigger vista view. But even though I didn't get the bigger vista view, I was still able to work on a couple of little abstract images. One or two of them, I think, which may have actually worked and produced a reasonably pleasing image. Anyway guys, hope you've enjoyed this little Photo Fridays romp out. I'm going back to warm up, and also maybe buy some new gloves. Oh, and check out the memory card and the dodgy tripod, and what else was wrong? Oh, my GoPro battery died. Yeah. Anyway guys, see you next week. Coffee time.